then on the other end, there's all these people that are like, well, you should just do Savage. Like, you should just do Ultimate, which is this like huge leap in what's expected of you. And so I think it would be nice to see the game have some areas where alliance raids would be good. Exploratory zones, really good.
I will say, I feel like there could be a good balance for Relic, though. Like, because I know a lot of people, one of the things they like about the current Relic weapon that's, a lot of people don't like is the fact that it's tomes. So that means that if they do have multiple jobs that they like to play, it's easier for them to get the Relic and are able to gear up multiple alt jobs that that they can swap between when they want to. Like, they're not doing Savage raiding with it, but like they want to be geared up enough that they don't feel too bad when running an extreme or something like that. Like, they might not need it, but personally in their head, they feel, oh, I want this so I can be a better player. So I feel like a good way to balance this with the new Relic in Dawn Trail is make the first time you do each step be something that's a little bit more grindy. So, like, as we mentioned, the field operations, and you also had like the books, you had the fates, you had all that. Like, make the first time you do the step that, and then any other times that you want to do that same step, make it so that you can either do the grind or purchase the required items with tomes on the second time you do that step.
Yeah, I've seen a number of people argue both directions over the years that it should either get harder as you go, because that way the collectors get something that grinds, but the people who just want to dabble in the system, their first one feels almost free, kind of like MSQ level, like it's just kind of handed to you. And then I've seen an argument come more from what you're arguing, saying, let's make the first one hard, and then people who want to keep going, it should just maybe get easier and easier or drop down to kind of a flat level.
So well, no, I'm not just saying just make it easier, but also make it optional. So like that way, if you want to do the grind, have the grind be the main option, but then if you want to, then maybe you can do half of it with the grind, and then you use half your tomes, and then or whatever.
Recognizing that this game is very alt heavy for people that play a lot and don't take breaks is something the game really struggles with. Like, that starts to relate to kind of the Savage gear. Like, if your first set had to be acquired at full tokens, but then subsequent sets could take a fraction of it. That general idea of like, we can remove some of the item barrier or open up the number of sources so that as you want to work on alts, you have more options. Because if you find it fun the first time, that doesn't mean you'll find it fun the second time. I think one of the hard things about the Relic in particular is what Izzy's saying. Izzy's done all the Relics on content. Izzy has a ridiculous number of accomplishments in this game by every definition of the word. And it feels like every expansion, everybody always hates whatever the Relic grind is, which is the one thing that all Relics have in common. But what is interesting is we can look back and we can say, okay, but how have they aged? And I think that the Endwalker Relics are going to age into something where everybody kind of has them, because you just kind of yeet Poetics into them. So they'll be the easiest to acquire after, because as Chili noted, it'll just be Poetics. As opposed to like Eureka has aged just so much better. On patch, Eureka was like splitting the community into 20 million different ways to hate the game. And it has just aged into something so beautiful.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Like, people are still running BA all the time. Like, there's always going to be a group in that. And it's sweet to see how that content, even though it's 6 years old or something like that. God, that makes me feel old. But it's still so popular. It's like there's always a BA run. There's always life in there. And I'm like, that's amazing.
I jumped in over the weekend just with somebody who was trying to get some stuff for BA. And we ended up sitting there for about an hour and a half just doing bunny fates with a load of people to make money. There was people there at a random time on the weekend doing leveling in fates. I made 400k in about 2 hours, so thanks, bunnies.
Oh, nice. Right? Those bunnies have cash. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, on this subject,
if you ever want easy money, do bunnies.
On the subject of Relics, guys, I don't know how else to get access to this. Strawberry Season over on Twitter. I'll retweet it if you follow us on Twitter. I'll repost this. And so if you want to go find it there, definitely go give that a like. Thank you so much to Emily over there for posting this. But they have taken some physical magazine where there was an article that confirms that Yoshi P effectively, to just TLDR what is a big long article about like what would you wish you'd done differently in the past, but he liked the way kind of the Zodiac relics kind of aged, in that there was something where people go, I remember what that was like. I remember overcoming that. Doesn't necessarily want to copy him exactly, but it does seem like he believes that while people may complain in the moment, that there is something cherished about this kind of on patch relic grind. And maybe it can result in something like Chili's saying, where we go back and we visit it later because it either provides skill or there's other things to grind there. But what would you guys like to see from the relic system, assuming that it's not a direct carbon copy of anything we've seen before?
Definitely. Like, I don't want to like take the lead on this too much, but I also like am super opinionated on this. I actually think that like what was said before is like this relic series is unfortunately going to become a little bit of a poetics dump, and right now it's really devolved into, hey, just join the hunt train, grind the hunt trains, catch as many as you can. Hey, if you can hop from Gilgamesh to Siren's hunt train, even better. And unfortunately, that's definitely killed a lot of the hype and the excitement, because I compare it to like Eureka, which I did do on content all those years ago. And I remember going through Pagos, and trust me, I'm not saying that it was the perfect thing. It's like that winter map is forever burned into my memory alongside those little, like, how do you call it? Like winter chickens jumping around. It had problems, but I definitely think that that was a really big relic to actually get. Like when you got it, it felt like such an achievement. Like when you made it to Hydatos and like were actually there, actually able to access like BA and everything, it felt like such a monumental achievement.